and he was the only one that got out of the boat. And what is the message being conveyed to us in that story? There are many messages. When you look at the disciples that didn't get out of the boat, they were hunkered down, afraid, living. And if you sort of compare that to life, they were living a miserable life, just hunkering down and just waiting and waiting and waiting. How we do sometimes in life, just waiting for the end to come and believing it's going to be better then. Or like Peter, we get out of the boat, recognize Jesus wasn't in that boat. He wasn't in that boat, hunkered down, just waiting. Peter wanted to be with Jesus, and he got out and started walking. And so then what happened? The waves and the wind, got Peter kind of afraid, and he began to sink. And that's when Jesus grabbed him and said, "Why did you doubt?" But when you look at that story, recognize that the waves didn't just start when Peter got out of the boat. The wind didn't just start blowing when Peter got out of the boat. There was a storm going on. And when Peter got out of the boat, there was a storm going on. And so Peter began walking where there was a storm going on. The storm just didn't crop up. It was going when Peter got out of that boat. He recognized, he knew there was a storm happening when he got out of that boat and he decided to walk to Jesus. It was only in the midst of walking that he began to focus on the storm that was there before he even got out of that boat. And then he began to sink. Okay. Yes, what I'm suggesting is that situation of the boat being hunkered down and what's going on is sort of giving us to understand to not be afraid about the seeming storms in life, to not be hampered by the storms in life, because we have those all through life, situations and circumstances that get us down. But the response for us is not to simply hunker down and wait and not do anything because there's stuff going on, but to get out in the midst of it and go on, and you're going to be all right. That's the message. And that's life. So Peter had the option then, when we're looking at that situation, that scenario, and comparing it to life, he had the option to just stay hunkered down because the situation wasn't ideal. But instead he got out. He said, "Lord, if it's really you, ask me to come out of this boat during the storm and walk on this water in the midst of the storm." And he did. And then a little while later he got scared, but he did. And so we got a taste of what it was supposed to be like, walking in the midst of storms. Life is a storm. Life isn't going to be a bowl of chocolates like Forrest Gump, a box of chocolates all the time. There's always going to be something going on. And the situation is, well, where is your mind? Where's your mind going to be? I have a good friend whose mother passed away, and she was there with her. Very depressed. And this is like a person upbeat, really cool, always got it together, but struggling. Hanging on. Proclaiming she's going to hang in there even though it's rough. She isn't hunkering down. She's busy. She's doing stuff. Recognizing that this is just life and it's rough, but it's not going to keep me down. That's the difference. That's the difference between the winners and the losers, okay? I tell my daughter, when she's, she practiced the martial art, going sparring, just before she went that first day, she was nervous. And she had been practicing the martial art for a while. She knew her moves and she knew her punches and kicks and all that stuff, but she was scared. And when I shared with her, everybody's scared. The difference is who's gonna function while they're scared. That's the difference between winners and losers. That's the difference between success and failure. That's the difference between peace in the midst of the storm. There's going to be fear, but there's going to be peace. There's going to be a storm, but there's going to be a peace. And what I'm suggesting today, you need to get up and begin walking and recognizing that you're okay. My daughter loves to spar now. But until she got out of the boat, until she walked up in that class that first day, man, we were usually joking and laughing and talking all the way to karate practice. There wasn't a word being said that day. She was nervous, but she was going. Because she recognized she was an advanced belt, 6.5 years old, right in the middle belt. And she couldn't go to the lower class. She had to go to this class or just quit the martial art. There was no other choice. And she loved the martial art, but she was afraid to go spar. So I got in there and I showed her what she needed to do, some basics to protect yourself and to throw some stuff, you know, at the same time. And she knew she had to get out of the boat. She had to go. At first she said, well, Dad, I just want to go one night a week. That's the night they don't spar. They just do forms and katas and stuff. I said, look, I'm not paying for one night a week. We either go or we don't go anymore. Man, that was a quiet trip. That was probably the longest trip. 10 minutes from the club, but it seemed like it took an eternity. She didn't say a word. She got out. And I didn't say, are you nervous? I didn't go. This was not a time for me to be trying to encourage her. She had to deal with this herself. And she got out of that car, took that bag over her shoulder, and went in there. Came out all happy. Turned out she had left one of her boxing gloves, one of her martial art gloves at the house. She had to practice. She had to go in there and spar with one glove. It didn't matter. She loved it. I said, how'd you do? She did real good. Did you do better than most? Yeah, she's the youngest person in the class. She did well. And now she loves to spar. Man, we're going there now. While we're driving, she's going through her bag, making sure she has everything, her mouthpiece, her gloves, and everything. She had to get out of that boat. Now, I'm telling you this. Now, she's in there every day. She's sparring. So when you're sparring, it's not like you're just punching and kicking. Somebody is punching and trying to kick you too. So there is a storm. But she recognized that she's well in the midst of this storm. I mean, you're still a little nervous because somebody's swinging at you. But she knows what she's got. And she's got that kind. Doesn't mean she's not afraid. It doesn't mean she's not going to get hit. But she has a special kind of peace because she knows what she's got. She knows she's got some skill.